Wow, oh my fucking goodness, guys. I cannot believe what I just watched. I'm here to make my recap of UFC 317 Topuria versus Oliveira. Absolutely incredible card from head to toe. I got a lot of my predictions right. I just want to go back down and really spoke about what I saw, and my goodness, man. Ilia Topuria, man. Let's just get right into the main event. Why? Might as well, man. Oh my goodness, I'm freaking trembling, dude. Ilia Topuria, man. That was incredible. I've never seen Charles Oliveira slept out goal like that. Obviously, no one has, but uh, that was just on a completely different level from anything I've ever seen. Any performance against Charles Oliveira, man. Early in the fight, Ilia is they're exchanging. Charles is tying him up uh, with these double collar ties he has. He's pulling Ilia down in the knees. Charles is landing a couple good shots. He gets a takedown. No. He clinches Ilia up against the fence, and then he tries to lat throw Ilia Topuria, and Ilia Topuria reverses it, lands on top of him, lands some devastating ground and pound. Charles Oliveira, they get back up to the feet. Charles Oliveira opens for a jab. I think he let his left hand down for a jab, and Ilia threw a jab and came with this absolutely excruciating right hook and slept Charles Oliveira sleeping out cold, landed on the canvas dead, man. That was like, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm pretty secure. I'm a man. I feel confident in myself. Do not put Ilia Topuria within 2 miles of me, man. I don't even want to come face to face with this guy. I couldn't even look him in the eyes, man. This dude he's on a whole completely other level. I literally, when I saw that, just due to the nature of the KO and how Charles was looking on the canvas, it literally scared me. Like it scared me. It was a completely different feeling from anything I've ever seen. Coming up to 145, this guy's power is it's inconceivable, man. This guy's power he's the most powerful. He's I mean, I'm having trouble seeing why this guy can't go up and KO welterweights, man. He's literally just okay. Well, I mean, we're dealing with Charles Oliveira here, but when you see the Max Holloway KO and combine it with this sleeping out Charles Oliveira, a guy who's known as chinny, but we've never seen him in sleeping like this, man. From one shot KO. Charles is getting dropped left and right by Dustin Poirier, but he's still there and he's battling. And when Charles gets dropped, he's usually alive. Ilia Topuria literally slept him out cold with one clean punch, man. It was scary to watch. He was deserving of the minus 440 odds in this, man. I really saw it going pretty much exactly this way, and it was still shocking for me to watch. Ilia Topuria, he's a completely different creature, man. He's different from any fighter we've ever seen at 145 or 155. He's the most powerful. I don't see why he can't beat Islam Makhachev right now. Islam Makhachev isn't. He's very clean on the feet, don't get me wrong, but why doesn't this exact same thing happen to Islam Makhachev? It's happened to his last two opponents who are known for better chins than. And the power just translated right there. You can say it was 145. The Volkanovski fight was at 145. The Max fight was at 145, man. This was at 155, and it was explosive, and it was insane, man. The size difference wasn't that big. We know Charles is probably a little bit taller, or he's of the same stature as Islam Makhachev. In the cage with Islam Makhachev, I don't think Ilia Topuria would be that much smaller than him, man. It was really baffling to watch, man. Ilia, what's next for Ilia, man? Patty's all right. I still think, I mean, he needs another win. It's pretty objective, but they pulled him into the cage. I'm sorry, man. Patty has zero chance against this guy, dude. Patty has literally zero chance. You beat Michael Chandler, you're not beating Ilia Topuria. It's not even. I don't even have to think about it, man. It's obviously an Ilia Topuria win, and then think outside of that, man. Justin Gaethje, he's gonna get chinned by this guy. Who else? Arman Sarukian, he's probably gonna get chinned by this guy, man. He went very close on the feet with Charles Oliveira, and Ilia Topuria just he landed clean, swiftly, and he slept Charles Oliveira out cold. It was My goodness, the contenders at lightweight, other than who else is there other than that coming up the division? Maybe a Rufy. Rufy is good. He's fast. He's very good on the feet. But I mean, he's been knocked out. He's chinny, man. I think Topuria would just put him right out. Obviously, I don't think he's not gonna go down to 45. He said that again. I mean, maybe at a 155 max, refreshed chin. He looked good against him in the last fight, but even then, man, he already KO'd him there. Who says it doesn't happen again? It was insane to watch. In a fight Charles seemed to be doing all right in. I think Ilia was definitely winning. He was looking good on the ground. When Charles had his chance to get him in guard and start threatening submissions, Ilia would throw ground and pound and pass guard. He got him. He cut him. It looked like he had cut him early, and he started to put him in a crucifix, and maybe that was where he got rolled over, and Charles had top position for a little bit, if I'm remembering correctly. But either way, man, he's just an anomaly. He's a complete anomaly of power. A guy who, it's insane. He came out of nowhere. Nobody's ever had power like this guy. It's not even comparable. Literally slept Charles Oliveira out cold. I mean, it's power and it's precision, like the McGregor quote, dude. It was very scary and completely insane to watch. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see who you give Ilia Topuria next that even has a chance of beating him. This is the new lightweight champion. There's really no one who I think is gonna change that, man. And for Charles, man, where does he go from here? I would honestly say retirement. I mean, maybe he can beat a couple more guys, maybe Arman Sarukian 2 fight, guys who have less of a chance of knocking him out. But if those past fights with Poirier and Gaethje didn't take his chin, this one probably will, man. And it's sad. I know everybody loves Charles. Personally, I'm not the same level of huge fan of Charles that a lot of people are, but I mean, I can see why people are a fan of Charles. It's sad to see his downfall, but I mean, who is Ilia Topuria, man? He's different. He's a completely different guy. I called first round KO and it still shocked and scared me. So completely insane knockout from Ilia Topuria is very impressive. Next fight, I mean, maybe Patty. I'd rather see him get a win first. I'd hope Arman, but I don't like Arman's chances in that fight, man. I think Ilia Topuria gets it done, especially when we saw him have success in the grappling against a bigger, I'm not going to say stronger. I know Arman is good and he out-grappled Oliveira, but frame-wise, he's more of a problem for Ilia Topuria than Arman Sarukian is. So, man, it just insane. I mean, who doesn't want to see Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria right now? Those are pretty much clearly the two best fighters in the sport. It's pretty much undeniable that everybody thinks the UFC should make that fight, but I mean, what can you do? Islam's already planning his move up. I mean, if Ilia moves up, it's really hard to see a performance like this up a weight class and just ride him off. I can't ride him off against Islam Makhachev even at 170. So Ilia Topuria, again, great performance, absolutely incredible, insane. It was shocking, very shocking to watch. Yeah, Ilia Topuria, incredible, man. We had in the co-main event, flyweight title versus Alejandro Pantoja. This fight really it held nothing on Ilia Topuria, Arman Sarukian. Even the fight before it, Joshua Van and Brandon Royval, two great, insane fights for as long as they lasted, at least in Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira's case. But this fight was all right. The story was that, I mean, Kai Kara France really had nothing for Alejandro Pantoja. Alejandro Pantoja dominated the whole fight. Early in the fight, he looked fast. He started landing combos and got in and took the back of Kai Kara France for pretty much the entire first round. I think it was the entire first round. He, in the second round, more of the same. It was like you'd wait for Kai Kara France to get on the feet and have moments, but he didn't have them. Whenever he landed on Pantoja, it wouldn't phase him at all. It looked like Kai Kara France really had zero for Pantoja, and it's sad, man, because you're looking at you're looking at Kai France, and this is a guy who's worked his whole life worked his whole adolescent and adult life for a certain goal, and it just doesn't look like he's going to achieve it in the flyweight division. He can't get it done in the top level fights. I pretty much predicted this fight to go very similar to how it did. I think I predicted a third or fourth round submission, but I mean, Pantoja, he's on a different level from the rest of the flyweights. I mean, how can you look at me and say you don't want him versus Joshua Van Ness? Those are clearly the two best guy. I mean, I would say the best guys in the flyweight division. Pantoja looked incredible. Kai France really had nothing for him, and it amounted in a lot of control for Pantoja, a lot of winning on the feet for Pantoja. And it accentuated just how little Kai France had for him. His power did nothing to Pantoja. I couldn't find a strike where it was an ooh or ah moment for Kai France. It was completely one-way sledding for Pantoja, and that's what it kind of made it a little boring. But in the end, it wasn't like it was Pantoja's fault. It was just completely non-competitive, and Pantoja's getting better, man. He's getting better. We had those competitive fights with Brandon Moreno and Steve Verseg. I love Steve Verseg, and Brandon Moreno's pretty cool, but I think he finishes those guys now similarly to this. I mean, on the feet, Steve Verseg is a better scrambler, so maybe I wouldn't say that, but Alejandro Pantoja is getting better. He's getting better as a champion, and he's 35. Usually there's a stigma, a curse around champions in the lighter weight classes 35 and up. That kind of eliminates that now because there's no lighter weight class to go than flyweight. So I mean, I guess you could say no champions over 35 at lightweight and bantamweight. But I mean, other than that, there's really nothing you can say. It's like, I mean, Pantoja, he's great at this old age, and he's improving at this old age, which is crazy for a flyweight. He looks like he's in great shape. I don't know who beats him at flyweight. Kai France is a good flyweight. He has good wins. He's been competitive with top guys like Brandon Moreno, knocked out Steve Verseg, but he really had nothing for Pantoja in this fight. Nothing for Pantoja. It was completely one-way sledding. It was a decent fight for as long as it lasted, but it was definitely a momentum shift down from the fight that I'm going to move on to talk about next. Brandon Royval and Joshua Van, man. Oh my goodness, man. This is probably one of the top 5 fights I've ever seen from the moment the first bell started. Actually, in the first round, it was Brandon Royval throwing a lot of pitter-patter, and Van actually getting past his shots and landing big shots. It was definitely a first round for Van. Van was he was the one who was landing the harder shots. Brandon Royval was looking like he was a little perplexed by Joshua Van's speed and his head movement, his power, and he was getting on the inside. But come round 2, Brandon Royval comes out a lot more understanding of the fight. He started throwing a lot of combinations. I mean, the whole time Brandon Royval would be throwing 1-2s, and his head was literally sticking straight up in the air, like so straight up in the air. He was basically like bending his head back, like looking up a little bit. And when he would throw 1-2s, Joshua Van would clip him, and his head would bounce back. But in the second round, he would be getting clipped, and he would start landing 1-2 uppercut, 1-2 uppercut to the body, 1-2 uppercut, 1-2, 1-2 uppercut, 1-2, and he was landing these combos on Joshua Van, and he started like putting a huge pace on Joshua Van, and he was landing so many 1-2s, and Joshua Van was trying to keep up. He wasn't throwing exactly as much output, and Brandon Royval was landing so many shots, and he landed. It looked like he rocked Joshua Van, like not rocked like he was on shaky legs, but he was rocking his head back, and he was landing these 1-2s, 1-2 uppercut, 1-2s. I really like the uppercuts from Brandon Royval because early his frames and his knees weren't working, but he started working that quick uppercut on the combination, and it really just brought his game all together. But I mean, in the second round, these guys were literally exchanging for 5 straight minutes. Like the entire round, they were throwing punches at each other, literally landing pretty much every punch they threw. Brandon Royval was landing a little more, but he was also missing more. And Joshua Van, he was the guy who was catching Royval at the end of his combinations. But I gave the second round of Brandon Royval just because of his constant landing of 1-2s. And I mean, I was really impressed by both of these guys. I felt a little bad for Brandon Royval in the first round because it looked like it was going to go Joshua Van's way the whole time, and like I was sort of having a hard time understanding how this guy could come in and completely just destroy the number one contender. But as the second round came, it looked like Brandon Royval proved himself to be the 1A 1B contender with Joshua Van in this fight. Man, he was landing so much. He was taking all these strikes. He didn't falter at all. He was landing a crazy amount of combinations. It was literally insane to watch. A crazy amount of combinations. Like, this guy probably kept punching for, like, I don't know if he wasn't throwing a punch for more than 3 seconds the entire second round. I think he landed like 80 significant strikes in the second round, and then come the third round, it's going the same way. It's like maybe Brandon Royval is gonna get this done. He keeps landing these 1-2 uppercuts, 1-1-2 uppercuts, and catching Joshua Van, but Joshua Van's there like he was in the second round. He's cracking Brandon Royval, and he's definitely there, but it looks like Brandon Royval's gonna take this, and Joshua Van's gonna it's going to be a valiant 3-week performance, or 3-week return notice, but it looks like Brandon Royval is going to win. He's going to defend his number one rank. We're all going to congratulate Joshua Van for doing very well, but it looks like Brandon Royval is going to win. And Joshua Van, in this exchange, Brandon Royval picks his head up like he was, and Joshua Van lands this mean right hook, and he knocked down Brandon Royval bad. Like, Brandon Royval was very rocked, and if there was about probably 20 more seconds on the clock, I think Joshua Van might have finished him. Brandon Royval was super rocked. He looked like, and I saw the bell ring, and I knew he like shook his head and he was like, fuck. And I knew it was because he literally had the fight in the palm of his hands, in my opinion, and he got caught right at the end, and it was rough to watch. I felt a little bad for Royval, but I mean, at the same time, how can you not think Royval's good after this, man? How can you not give him praise? So I don't think it'll be that tough of a pill for him to swallow. He knows Joshua Van's good, and Brandon Royval's going to be here, and all I can think of is, dude, imagine Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval 2 in a couple years for the belt. 5 rounds, man. That sounds like an absolutely insane fight. Literally, this was pretty much exchanges from the moment the fight started. It was an insane fight, and it all led up to that Joshua Van knockdown in the third round. And it ultimately led to Joshua Van waiting around for the Komen and getting in the cage with Pantoja. And it was friendly, but that's definitely the fight that is gonna happen next, and I'm very excited for it. It looks like it's gonna be a great fight. Joshua Van presents a good amount of challenges to Pantoja. He has great takedown defense, of course, the boxing. I mean, it's pretty much a pick'em for me at this point. All hands on Pantoja versus Joshua Van, but I mean, of course, Pantoja looked extremely good in the grappling and neutralized Kai Kara-France on the feet. So I don't know, man. Incredible result. This is honestly, I mean, it might be fight of the year. There's a couple ones up there. Moda, Sadikov. Who else is up there, man? Cannonier, Robocop, speak of Robocop, we'll talk about him later, but Joshua Van, man, he looked incredible on 3 weeks notice. 23 years old, this guy is rising. That's pretty incredible to me. But I mean, if you're gonna give praise to Joshua Van, you got to give praise to Brandon Royval too, because he was right there the whole time, and he really just got clipped towards the end. But I mean, that's all credit to Joshua Van. He set up the shot, man. So yeah, Joshua Van, incredible win. It's going to be an incredible fight with Pantoja, and I mean, just look at this guy. He's so good, man. He's so young, and he's on this incredible win streak. He had that loss to Charles Johnson. You know what I'm thinking? I was thinking that Ramazan Temirov fight was pretty close. I could have gave it to Charles Johnson. I think Charles Johnson's pretty good, man. But that's not to discredit Joshua Van, obviously. He's made improvements since that fight, and he looks sort of like a completely new fighter against a notoriously higher ranked, or I'm not going to say notoriously, but like everybody knows that Brandon Royval is higher ranked. He's consistently winning. He's consistently having better performances against top competition than Charles Johnson. And Joshua Van came in and he did exactly what he needed to win. So Joshua Van, man, incredible prospect, incredible story, man. I'm hyped to see, and it's really lighting up the flyweight division. Am I wrong? I feel like way more people are talking about the flyweight division now just because of this. This was a pretty great showcase card for the flyweight division. I mean, just people who are tuning in for Joshua Van's fight now, they're gonna start tuning in for Brandon Royval's fights, and it's gonna spread to the other flyweights. Maybe Brandon Royval has a sick fight with whoever, or Usyk, or whatever. It's a lot of good press about the flyweight division, and I'm glad because I mean the flyweights are putting on shows on these cards, man, and they just a lot of the times they don't get the praise they deserve. And one guy who doesn't get the praise that he deserves is Pantoja, and he should definitely be higher on the pound for pound list. So yeah, man, incredible, great display for the flyweight division. This was probably the weakest fight on the main card, but it was still a really good fight early in the fight. Beneil Dariush he's on the back foot. He's landing good, powerful shots when Moicano comes in, and then towards the end of the round, maybe there's a few wrestling exchanges. Towards the end of the round, Renato Moicano comes in. He lands up one and he drops this crazy two on Beneil Dariush. He literally he drops him super bad. Beneil Dariush is like he gets splayed out under the cage, then he scrambles up and Moicano tries to take the back, but Beneil Dariush catches his leg and they end up getting back to the feed at the end of the round, and it goes to Moicano. But a lot of the things that people are drawing at the end of the first round is that, I mean, yeah, Moicano had a knockdown, so he wins the round, but Beneil Dariush is winning the bulk of the round on the feet. He's neutralizing the grappling of Moicano, and then come the second round, Beneil looks refreshed. He comes out, he's not rocked. He starts landing a lot of punches and good shots against Moicano, and then he takes him down, and he pretty much banks. He tanks him down. Moicano's trying to get up. He gives a good few attempts at giving up, and it really gasses him, or not giving up, getting up. He gives a few attempts at getting up, and it really gasses him out. He gets gassed out from trying to escape Beneil Dariush on the ground. I mean, props to Beneil Dariush. He looks super good on the ground. He was clearly clearly the superior grappler in this fight. He had more takedowns. He did more with his control. I don't think Moicano had. He had a little bit of control, like when he reversed the takedown in the third round. But other than that, it was pretty much one way Beneil Dariush from there. Moicano was tired at the start of the third round. He wasn't throwing a lot. Beneil Dariush was able to get off punches. I think maybe he got a takedown or two in the third round, but he was able to get off punches. He was... and Moicano just wasn't active enough. It's sad. I mean, we like Moicano, but I mean, it was a competitive fight. It's good to see Beneil Dariush get a win. I wasn't rooting for him, but I was happy that he got a win after the Arman Tsarukyan situation, the Oliveira fight. He's a nice guy, and he deserved a win here. But I mean, it's sad for Moicano as well. Moicano will stick around though. It was a close fight. Both guys looked decent. But Beneil Dariush pulled it out, man. Yeah, and Moicano just really needed to get on the front foot and start throwing shots in the third round, and he couldn't. He was too tired. So, yeah, pretty good fight. Moving on to my victory lap of the card, Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima, dude. I fucking told you guys, dude. Go back to my predictions, dude. I told you. Dude, I could not believe the vehement, the hate this guy was getting after the Barcelos fight, man. Like, a prospect dares to lose a fight to a guy in Barcelos who's pretty good. I watched that fight, and it was really close, and I knew it, and Peyton Talbot comes in this fight the underdog, and people are doubting him, and man, he completely washes Felipe Lima in the grappling, dude. Anytime Felipe Lima tried to sniff a takedown, Peyton Talbot would rip a whizzer, or he would he'd find some way to scramble up and get top position, and he'd be in side control. He got in mount a few times. He was in half guard a lot, and he was landing little punches, and he was punishing Felipe Lima. And Felipe Lima, he was doing good on the feet early. I mean, You could have seen that coming. Felipe Lima is an explosive, fast guy, but the problem is Peyton Talbot. Even if Felipe Lima is able to jump in and rock his head back and hit him with 1-2s, and Peyton Talbot's pressure is too it's too smothering, and Peyton and Felipe Lima can dart in and out, but ultimately he feels the power, and even in Talbot's Talbot has power, or even in his soft shots, even when he's like just throwing out a jab, just laying a jab out there, it has impact, and Felipe Lima could feel it. And that's really what Peyton Talbot was landing in the earlier rounds. Maybe I think there in round one there was like one good combination Felipe Lima landed, where he hopped in and he landed a 1-2 and then he hopped out. But the constant pressure and the body kicks and the constant pressure and the constant punches that Talbot was throwing, the jabs and the 1-2s. I mean, Talbot does have a problem moving his head, but I saw him slipping a few shots this fight. I think if Talbot tried to be super elusive, it'd be to his detriment, because he's such a presence in the cage. He had Felipe Lima pretty much darting in and out and trying to get away from Talbot the whole time. Or I'm not going to say trying to get away, but just trying to put some space between him and Talbot, because Talbot is long and he lands these powerful 1-2s. And I mean, I watched Montel Jackson's fight. I'm like, Peyton Talbot can whip Montel Jackson's ass, bro. This is a ranked level bantamweight, especially with that grappling defense we saw against a guy who so many people were picking against Peyton Talbot, who so many people saw as a really good prospect. I thought he was a good prospect too. He's proven himself at least in some capacity with his past wins, but this was just a completely dominant grappling performance from Peyton Talbot, man. And he didn't even shoot a takedown the whole time. He shot one. He had one where he had the body lock on Felipe Lima, and he tried to like put his knee behind his lead leg and trip him over, and he ended up on bottom towards the end of the first round. But he got up. The second round, more of the same. He ends up in mount at the end of the second round, landing significant ground and pound shots. And then the third round is where Talbot's striking really came on. I think Felipe Lima became a little tired. He was even more skittish of the power, and he started shooting some panic takedowns that didn't work for him. Peyton Talbot's pressure was adding up. He was getting to Lima. He was draping this pressure all over Lima. I mean, that sounded a little sus. I mean, considering the speculations about Peyton Talbot, I don't know if you want him draping a lot on you, but Peyton Talbot, crazy, man. Coming on in the third round, he's landing hard 1-2s. He starts landing big combinations against the fence, and Felipe Lima's circling out, and he circles out in this one exchange, and Peyton Talbot lands a couple punches, and Peyton Talbot throws this spinning wheel kick around, and he lands it flush, and you could tell I mean, Felipe Lima felt it, man. It was a great strike, and it just showed how Peyton Talbot started to get more comfortable as the fight went on, and really start opening up on the feet, and as a I mean, he's a little bit plotty, but he's also very athletic. But as this force that's coming at you the whole time, that has extremely good takedown defense, he's a nightmare for a guy like Felipe Lima, who wants to dart in and out and have these slick grappling exchanges and win the exchanges where he can. And it just wasn't enough for Peyton Talbot tonight. And I just sort of want to shove it in everyone's face who friggin' just had so much doubt and hate towards Peyton Talbot I mean, I guess because you think he's gay, but other than that, like, what is there to hate about him, man? He lost a fight against Tony Barcelos. He has a bit of a smug attitude, and he's confident, man. Why is there just this widespread hate of Peyton Talbot? And I know that he was so popular before. One win, he's going to be just as popular as he was again. And I saw people talking about how they thought this was, I mean, they're throwing Peyton Talbot to the wolves, and this really sucks for Peyton Talbot, but I thought this was the perfect opportunity for Peyton Talbot to really prove himself again, man. He had that loss to Tony Barcelos, and he comes back against a guy who, before this fight, you could have thought that he probably had the better grappling than Tony Barcelos, and maybe he does. Maybe Peyton Talbot just improved so much, but he came into the fight against this guy, and he completely nullified anything that Felipe Lima had for him, man. It was a great defensive performance on the feet. He looked good too. He had some trouble when he was getting his head blown back, but yeah, I mean, speaking on the opportunity for Talbot, people were saying this was a bad opportunity for Talbot, but what I saw it as is the perfect opportunity for him to prove himself against a grappler people might have thought was better than Barcelos, and on the main card, that is an international fight where you confronted the most eyes it could have possibly had. So, I mean, this kind of just fell right in Peyton Talbot's hands, man. It was on short notice. It ended up being on the pay-per-view main card, and he really showed out and showed why he was such a popular, highly touted prospect before the Barcelos loss, man. So, yeah, extremely good performance from Peyton Talbot. I'm really glad to see it. This is probably this was the most spot-on best pick I had. Most people were picking Felipe Lima, but a lot of people also acknowledged like Lucas Tracy acknowledged the composure advantage that Peyton Talbot had on the feet, and I think all the composure style needed for Peyton Talbot was rock solid takedown defense, and he showed that he can scramble. He looked like a completely different grappler in this fight, man, and I'm starting to believe him, because I mean, this is incredible progress for just 6 months after his last fight where he had completely opposite results. I'm starting to believe the vertigo and I don't understand I can understand why he would lie, but I don't think he was lying, man. I think that was just a bad night for him. Obviously it didn't end up the way he wanted, but I mean, he completely changed the narrative in this fight, and I was really happy to see it, because I'm a big fan of Peyton Talbot and the content he creates. So, yeah, man, Peyton Talbot, extremely promising bantamweight prospect, and this was the exact way he needed to put himself back on the map after that Barcelos performance. I mean, he could have used a third round TKO, but this was just about as close to perfect as he could have asked for a situation for a comeback fight after his Barcelos loss. Yeah, man. So, yeah, great main card, man. It was really incredible. I mean, it was topped off by Charles and Ilia, but going back down onto the prelims, Hermansson versus Gregory Rodriguez. I picked Jack Hermansson, man. I believed in the craftiness. Maybe that was ill-advised, maybe because I should have seen it coming, but I mean, it really was tough to watch a crafty, loved, respected veteran like Jack Hermansson just get slept out cold by Gregory Rodriguez. It was a nasty KO, man. Early in the fight, Jack Hermansson is good. He starts cutting the two sides of the forehead of Gregory Rodriguez. I don't know if it was with punches, because I didn't see him land any elbows, but Jack Hermansson was skating in and out. He was landing good combos. He was clearly winning the first round, and then Gregory Rodriguez, he catches Jack Hermansson with his hands out, walking backwards, and just lands this like shovel uppercut and sleeps him out cold, man. It was rough to watch, but I mean, it's a good win for Gregory Rodriguez against a guy like Jack Hermansson. It was really this is probably what was always going to happen, but it doesn't make it any easier to watch. I was sad for Jack Hermansson. He didn't crush any bones, and he didn't what's the other one? Bones smashing, twig crunching. He didn't the only twig he crunched was like the floorboards under the octagon, bro. So yeah, rough to watch for Jack Hermansson. Gregory Rodriguez, I mean, we saw him get fraud checked by Jared Cannonier. I mean, fraud checked, that's a hard thing to say, but he's been knocked out in the past. Bruno Fajea. I think there was one more, I can't completely remember it at this moment. He got messed up by Jared Cannonier, so I don't know how much further he goes at middleweight than this, but it's sad to see Jack Hermansson go out like that, and it's a good win for Gregory Rodriguez, no doubt. So yeah, a good fight. I mean, definitely a great way to segue into the main card. It was a quick finish, and it was pretty competitive, but I mean, I would have given it to Jack Hermansson for as long as it lasted, but then Gregory Rodriguez obviously got the finish. So yeah, super impressive by him. he got past the craftiness of Jack Hermanson and proved that he's a guy who is less telegraphed than Joe Pyfer. I mean, yeah, he's less telegraphed than Joe Pyfer. He looked he was able to find the shot on Jack Hermanson, and Joe Pyfer wasn't. So yeah, great performance by Gregory Rodriguez. It sucks for Jack Hermanson coming off of a year or two layoff after the Joe Pyfer fight, which was a win, but it sucks for him to get sent right down with the loss. But yeah, good performance for Gregory Rodriguez. It was a nasty KO. Yeah, I'm gonna move on to, oh my goodness, man, Hyder Emil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I was watching the ESPN stream on my TV, and I fucking hate how ESPN Plus they started, or maybe it's just maybe mine wasn't like this before, but they started having it where the ads play on a timer. It's like it's separate from the broadcast kind of, but it always ends up giving you like a 30-second delay when you start going back and watching the fight. So I started letting the commercial breaks build up with a 30-second delay. It's like, oh, I'll just change it. Then I zoom it right before this fight, and I unpause it, and it's Hyder Emil laying on the ground, Jose Delgado freaking jumping around like an orangutan, man, and throwing a fit. And it's crazy. That shit happened in 30 seconds, man. Hyder Emil, a really tough guy who's a marauder. His marauding wasn't working for him this fight for as long as it lasted. I mean, this went pretty well for my pick. Obviously, I picked Jose Delgado by either like a late round finish, or I think I might have picked him by decision, but Hyder Emil comes blitzing forward. I think he got him in the clinch for a second. They broke apart. Jose Miguel Delgado lands a couple shots. He like lands a jab, and then he goes for the double collar, and he brings up this nasty knee into the chin of Hyder Emil, and he just sleeps him pretty much out cold. He lands a couple elbows, and then it was weird because Hyder Emil was clearly out cold, and then like a 1 second after they called the fight off, Hyder Emil just springs up, and it was weird. You could clearly see that Hyder Emil was out cold, but I mean, impressive for Jose Delgado, man. Nobody has done this to Hyder Emil. Obviously, Hyder Emil's undefeated, but incredibly impressive from Jose Delgado. He looks good. That was crazy, man. He's looking better than he was on the Contender Series a couple years ago. So, looking good, man. Incredible KO for Jose Delgado. That was probably the best way. You don't want to get dragged into deep waters by Hyder Emil, and he got it done extremely quickly with a great shot. So, yeah, insane, man. This was a great card, if you can't tell. Baby Rahu, man, versus Tracy Cortez, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I didn't watch it. I was on my phone. I mean, my coin flip ultimately lost me my prediction in this one, but I mean, the coin giveth and the coin taketh. I have to play by the coin, and honestly, this was pretty much a coin flip. Tracy Cortez, I mean, she did a good job controlling from the moments I faded into the room or the moments I looked up from the meal I was making, and Tracy Cortez, man, yeah, she looked pretty good. Moving on, Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshev, man. This was it sucks because I mean, I picked McKinney, like I was happy, but it sucks because Borshev didn't even get a chance to work his game in this one. He got taken down immediately by Terrence McKinney, and he got taken down by Terrence McKinney, and he ended up in this front collar, and Terrence McKinney puts in like this. He's too sideways on an anaconda choke, so he's kind of like he's got the arm on his chest of Vyacheslav Borshev, and he's got his arm around the neck, and he's like cranking it, and his lock's like towards the middle of Borshev's chest, and then it looks pretty tight, but ultimately Terrence McKinney switches it to a guillotine, and he takes him out, and it was just he had the arm of Borshev trapped between his legs, and it was just too tight for Borshev to escape, and he had to tap. Borshev didn't even get to work his striking in this one, so as long as it lasted, it was decent. I think Borshev landed a couple shots on the feet. He landed like a spinning back kick, and then ultimately, Talbot landed some spinning back kicks too. Now I remember that, but that's besides the point. Terrence McKinney took him down and got it done, man. Yeah, Terrence McKinney looks pretty good when he's not getting slept out cold, but ultimately, I mean, if he starts working his grappling, maybe we see a better version of Terrence McKinney rise up the ranks. But I think his chin and his proneness to get finished, it might prevent him from becoming really anything special. But I mean, he looked really good in this one. You can't take that away from him. So yeah, Terrence McKinney, he looked good in this one. Showed why he was the favorite. And Borshev has to go back to the drawing board. I don't know how many fights before he gets cut. Maybe one more loss, which sucks. He's good, but I mean, he just can't compete in the grappling. Yeah, so Terrence McKinney, he looked really good. He showed his early finishing ability, and he showed his improved grappling. So that was, yeah, he showed it against Dusko Todorovic too, but this was a little more impressive to me just because of the nature of the submission, and he did it faster than Chase Hooper, a guy who I think is pretty good. So that's true, man. You could make Terrence McKinney Chase Hooper for like a 15 ranked spot after Chase Hooper beats Alexander Hernandez, which I think he'll pretty obviously beat Alexander Hernandez. But yeah, great win from Terrence McKinney. He's rising up the ranks of unranked lightweight. So yeah, it looked good, man. The last dodo bird survives, man. Jacoby Smith, early in this fight, he lands a lot of good shots. He's rocking Nico Price. I mean, with Jacoby Smith, I talked about in my other video, he looks a little sloppy, but he's just so explosive and powerful that he throws a lot of shots and will end up out of position. It's not like Nico Price could punish him for it, but they go to the ground pretty much after the first exchange. Jacoby lifts him up and lifts him up and dunks him, and he starts throwing mean elbows like the ones we saw against Christian Savoy on the Contender Series. He lands these mean elbows, and he's really beating the face of Nico Price in. But Nico Price is surviving. He's trying to threaten submissions. Ultimately, Jacoby Smith they get off of the ground towards the end of the first round, and they start exchanging on the feet, and Jacoby Smith looks noticeably slowed down. I mean, it was a really, really quick pace. He had this massive takedown. He was landing all these ground and pound shots, but it looked like he expended a lot of energy, and from then until the time that the finish happened, he was just pretty much trudgy. Oh, there was that one moment towards the end of the first round where it was probably in like the last 5 seconds of the first round where Nico Price throws like a spinning back fist, and Jacoby Smith just lands this jab, and he almost drops him, and Nico Price is stumbling backwards, and Jacoby Smith lands a head kick, but it doesn't really faze Nico Price. So that was a good moment from Jacoby Smith. He obviously won the first round. It was damn near 10-8, but he was noticeably slowed down in the second round. He was coming out, he was trudging. He landed a few shots, but he didn't look to have incredible cardio in this fight, and that is definitely worrying for his hopes moving up the division. Obviously, he's very dangerous, and Nico Price is a guy who's decently durable. He got slapped by Robbie Lawler in the pocket, which wasn't a good look, but I mean, hey, maybe it was a perfect shot. Jacoby Smith, I mean, the only way to pretty much do better than this is just get a first round finish, and I think it's good that we and Jacoby Smith are probably seeing. I mean, I'm sure he knows from training, but he might have a little bit of a cardio issue, especially when he's getting extremely he's got an extremely fast pace going on, and yeah, it messed him up in the long run. He was definitely panning for air, but he got it done. They ended up in exchange on the ground, and Jacoby Smith, it looked like Nico Price was going to scramble to his feet, and Jacoby Smith takes it back and with no hooks in, and he hops on a rear naked choke and throws the hooks in, and Nico Price couldn't do anything. He was basically forced to tap. But I mean, yeah, a little bit of an issue for Jacoby Smith with the cardio, but I mean, it's not something that's completely unfixable. Like, I mean, I get cardio's sort of a gene, but he can definitely work on it. The rest of His stuff looked great. I mean, he was getting sort of out of position on the striking, but we sort of knew that he's a huge, powerful. I mean, he's pretty like he's extremely dense. He's like all muscle, so he's gonna swing and he'll miss. But I mean, he's a pretty good fighter. I don't know exactly how far he'll go at welterweight, but I mean, you could give him a guy towards the edge of the rankings, and I'd like to see how he does, man. Nico Price it's a decent win. If I could think of an opponent right now, probably Renat Fakhretdinov. I like a Renat Fakhretdinov fight for Jacoby Smith, just because, I mean, of course he did get an early finish. He's got a good amount of hype behind him. Why not give him Renat Fakhretdinov, a guy who isn't quite the best, but he's also around the rankings, and he's definitely a big step up from Nico Price. So Jacoby Smith, Renat Fakhretdinov, I'd like to see how that goes. Maybe Jacoby Smith gasses out, or maybe he finishes him easily, like he has the potential to do. Yeah, so Jacoby Smith, good prospect at welterweight, but not exactly otherworldly cardio. Moving on to Alvin Hines versus Jonata Deniz. Alvin Hines, my new favorite fighter, man. I don't know what the case was, but it was like the fight started, and before Jonata Deniz had even thrown a punch, Alvin Hines had a bloody nose and he had a black eye, man. It looked like towards the end of the first round, Jonata Deniz, he was landing flimsy jabs, maybe a couple decent shots, but Alvin Hines looked like he had got jumped by a group of 10 people, man. It was crazy. It was like all this damage appeared on his face. He's like the opposite of Chito Vera. It's like if you flick him on the cheek, he'll get a big old shiner, and it was crazy, man. He was getting real marked up just by not a lot of crazy shots early in the fight. I mean, obviously towards the end of the fight, Jonata Deniz started landing more shots, and Alvin Hines was there, but he wasn't landing he was missing a lot, and Jonata Deniz was the more consistent guy landing with power. So Jonata Deniz, I mean, he looked all right. He looked definitely better than Alvin Hines, but I mean, I don't think any of us expected that much from Alvin Hines. He's cool though. He's a marauder, and he was definitely game. So he was a worthy opponent of fighting Jonata Deniz. It's good that they pulled him up. I sort of preferred that to Tafa, bro. Tafa's just alright. I don't really care for Tafa, but seeing Alvin Hines was interesting, and it was funny cracking up about how he literally, as the bell rung, he had a black nose and a bloody. He had a black nose. He had a bloody nose and a black eye. It's like it appeared on his face. So, oh yeah, and Alvin Hines was shooting a lot of takedowns, just stumbling around when he wouldn't get him. It looks like he got one. I don't even remember that. So Jonata Deniz kept it on the feet, and he pretty much I don't know if he dominated, but he definitely decisively won on the feet. Yeah, and I mean, Alvin Hines looked all right, but I mean, other than that, man, that was a pretty good card. It was pretty. I mean, it was a great card. So many good finishes. This one was very unexpected to me. Jose Delgado and Hyder Emil. It just happened so fast. It was crazy. This one was sad to watch. I mean, incredible performance from Peyton Talbot, Dariush and Moicano. He was all right. Ravel and Joshua Van, one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. Like I said, man, it was incredible. It just really shows you how good the flyweight division could be, and I'm glad the flyweight division is getting more attention. Pantoja and Kara France, man. It wasn't that great of a fight, but it showed how dominant Pantoja is and how much of a level he is over most of the flyweight division. So him versus Joshua Van is a great matchup next. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, again, man, just horrifying KO from Ilia Topuria. He looked to be in a different stratosphere of power to Charles Oliveira. It was just baffling to watch. And Charles Oliveira, early, he was smothering him, and he looked big, and I was like, oh, Ilia Topuria, he's sort of he's having to wriggle his way out of these positions with Ilia Topuria. With Charles Oliveira's wrapping his leg up, but I mean, just the first real boxing. From the start, you could see Ilia landing they were noticeably fast hooks, like hooks you haven't seen at lightweight before. Like he's just whipping these extremely fast, powerful hooks, and you wonder how much how long he can sustain that style for, but we've seen him do it for a while. But you could tell that Ilia Topuria was coming to this fight with bad intentions, dude. He was throwing power from the moment the fight started, and just the first real punching exchange on the feet, Oliveira floats his hand out, and where his hand was, Ilia Topuria places a nuclear right hand and puts him out cold, man. It was hard to watch, but I mean, great fight. It sets up a lot of matchups. It did a lot of advancing, a lot of divisions, but I mean, incredible fight. UFC 317. It shaped up to be a really good card. So, I mean, great performances from pretty much the winners we wanted to see. Incredible from Ilia, incredible from Petoja, incredible from Van, good from Dariush, pretty cool from Talbot. Rodriguez, obviously very cool. Delgado, sick. This one was all right. Terrence McKinney looked really good. Jacoby Smith looked a little worse than we probably thought, and maybe the odds said, but I mean, he got it done, and pretty dominantly for as long as it lasted. And Alvin Hines, man, respect Alvin Hines. I'll end this off with respect to Alvin Hines. Thank you guys for watching. I'm trying to get this out as quick as possible for you guys, but I mean, I really appreciate you watching, and everybody have a nice day.